Yeah, hello there. Yeah, no artwork yet. But anyways, uh, that is a scary sounding Hound of the Baskervilles dog, man. I am not familiar with that dog, but I don't want anything to do with it. Holy shit. You can't hear it maybe, but I can. Whew. That's one of them man eating dogs, man. You know, one of them dogs that like mm, bend you over the sink type of dogs. I heard that description somewhere. Like, yeah, when a dog owns you. I've had that experience before. I had like a 110 pound police dog come up to me in the park, like out of nowhere, and it was like a 110 pound German Shepherd, and it just sniffed me all over. Like, yeah, I'm gonna like smell every part of you, and there's nothing you can do or anything you can do about it. I own you now, and I'm like, yeah, you do. Anyways, that just kind of startled me. I didn't. Uh, so I called my doctor's office. I asked them about the Omni Orthopedics referral. They said they sent it in on the 30th of last month. It is now the 12th of this month. So I went through the receptionist. They sent me to the nurse. The nurse says she's checking it out for me. My stress level is, I feel awful. So I'm just kind of like using my security blanket. That would be you to wait and hear back from these people because I really do not want anything to do with these doctors. I mean, I don't. You know, of course, I've had the horrific past of bad things, but I just don't want to go back into that doctor's office. So I was thinking about what they could actually do for me. I'm a logical person. I tend to think these things out logically. You know, I'm not like I'd like to punch that motherfucker that fucked up my leg in the face. You know, that's right brain. I doing it left brain. Okay, I'm thinking pain management. They can send me to. Okay, what are they gonna do for me in pain management? Uh, offer me drugs. These prove not to be helpful. They prove to be counterproductive because I need to move around and do things. The last pain management experience I had wasn't through Mercy, but was through Altman Hospital, and all the guy gave me was what I have over there, gabapentin, Orontin. And he also put me through a pointless test, and that's all I got out of pain management. So, yeah. Um, so forget pain management's probably not going to do anything for me, but the orthopedics people, they might be able to do something for me. They might be able to do some sort of procedure on my leg at the very least. They could shoot it up with cortisone, give me temporary relief. They might be able to drain it. You know, if they might be able to treat it some way. So that's what I want. As far as actually having a primary care physician, I don't want these people. Like first impressions stick, and if your first impression is, you know, a guy does something weird with your leg, and then your life has been turned into a living hell for 3 weeks. That they made a bad first impression on me. Okay, um, so I'll just find another doctor. I mean, I don't want to go back in there. I don't. I haven't even met the Dr. Mason guy yet, but I don't want to go back in there. It's emotionally charged for me because you know I feel like I got injured going in there. There's really nothing I can do as far as like, hey, you motherfuckers injured me because it's pointless. There's no X-rays that they have, no before and after. Like this is before you jerked on my knee. This is after. You notice this little thing in here that wasn't there before. There's nothing like that that I can point to, and even if I could, what am I gonna do? Sue them? I don't have time for like that kind of nonsense, or I would have been dragging my landlord into court. Like when that guy sprayed me with poison. You know, I had him dead to rights. I could have drug him into court, ruined his life, maybe got 4 figures for my pain and suffering over getting sprayed in the face, you know. But I'm not doing that. I don't live life like that. I live life in a way that causes me the least amount of bother and the most amount of reward. You know, I don't care about a few dollars. I don't care about getting revenge and shit like that. Um, so it's like I got this physical coming up on the 20th. I have to arrange transportation for it tomorrow. I'm thinking if I can get this shit straightened out, man, I'm gonna like reschedule that appointment on the 20th, and then like I could go through other avenues and try to just find a different doctor. You know, it's I can talk to my case manager at Care Source, and she can hook me up with somebody else. But you know, the nurse was rude to me. The dude yanked on my leg. He didn't really yank on my leg, my yig. Let go of my yigo. He just kept forcing it back further and further and further and asking me, "Does it hurt? Does it hurt? Does it hurt?" You know, and I was all doped up at the time, and so I was like, "No." Like I said, I should have said, instead of like doing this, don't. You know, it's like, no, man, don't touch my leg. I just could have stopped him and I said, like, you know, just leave it alone. There's something wrong with it. And it's like, you're not familiar with CRPS, so I'm not going to get the ordinary warning pain response. I get like warnings over nothing. Like, oh my God, this feather just dropped out of the sky and landed on your stomach. It's, you know, it's like the slightest touch will cause me a lot of pain sometimes. Like slamming into something, I'll be like, or I'll find an injury on myself and I'll be like, when the fuck did that happen? I mean, an actual like bruise, like that big, and be like, I don't remember doing that. You know, it's just this. I don't have normal pain response, so it's like I don't have the normal warning. So if you're pushing on my leg and at waiting for my body to tell you what's up, my body don't know what's up. So you know, I gotta try to think this out, you know, by myself and figure out what's best for me. Now on the orthopedics, I've already spoken to him. I've never been in there, but I've already spoken to him on the phone. I had a deal going like months back, way before COVID, way I think last year, where they were like, "We'll call you and set up an appointment." But I did the initial, you know, phone conversation with them. I don't think I had an appointment. I don't think I blew off an appointment with them. I think I would remember that. I think it was like I had the initial phone consultation with them, and I remember like when my rapist doctor told me that I had a referral to him. They like called me within 3 4 days. I do remember that part. I was like, oh, that was a quick turnaround, you know. And I was talking to them, and they were like, you know, we'll call you with and set up the appointment. I just wanted to talk to you and about your case, or it was something like that. But you gotta understand, this happened like in December of or November of last year, because COVID hit the United States shores sometime in January, and everything went to hell in February and March. So you know, my doctor committed his alleged crime 2 days after Christmas of last year. So you know, this has been a long time ago that this happened. Now, why they're, you know, she's checking into it as I speak to you, supposedly. Um, so, but no, I don't want to go in there for. I don't want to go in there for no goddamn physical when they don't have any idea what CRPS is anyway, and they already hurt me because of it. I don't, you know, and I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, okay, you know, sure you're under a lot of stress and stuff, but I'm like, why put myself through this? I've been through all this shit before, so why put myself through this? You know, it's like the only reason I can think of is like the, they can sign me drugs, or if something pops up, like I have some kind of ailment, I'll have a doctor to go to. But I can find another doctor. Just be real careful in the meantime. Um, so I'm like, yeah, the only thing they can really do for me is prescribe me more gabapentin. Now, there was a time in there, of course, when I was doing without gabapentin altogether, and I was exercising and I was moving around and I was doing shit. Now, since what happened on the 22nd, my knee has been pretty bad. I don't know how much gabapentin I have left. I probably have like half a bottle, but I haven't been taking it at normal doses. Um, where's this shit at? Yeah, here it is. So I don't know how much is in here, but it doesn't matter anyway. It's like a good. They gave me a bottle of 90. So I mean, just by the eye test, there's probably 50 in there anyway. I mean, when I take them, they're only 100 milligram capsules. So when I take them, I have to take. Well, I did take one a couple of times, but I take like two or three. Uh, the dose on it, it says take one capsule by mouth 3 times a day. But the overall point is, this would be the only reason why I would like absolutely have to go through this physical so I can get some more of this shit. And I will, take my chances and do without it and just find another doctor. I mean, except for Tanya, the receptionist, I don't like those people. Um, yeah, um, yeah, my stress level is it's just crazy. But I did do what I was supposed to do, and I was actually nervous like I used to be because I used to have like my anxiety used to be like way out of control. So it's like making phone calls was a nervous thing for me uh, when I was younger. So but I felt like that nervousness inside, but I sounded cool on the outside, but I was like nervous because this is a big deal. It kind of like decides my future. But I used to get nervous just making regular business phone calls. I don't really do that anymore. Kind of like overcame that. I used to get nervous, like going to grocery stores and stuff, just simple things. So I had generalized anxiety. So, you know, now it's like a lot of my anxiety and a lot of my confidence issues has to do with the fact that I don't have the body that I did uh, 10 years ago, let alone 20 years ago. So, you know, the physical shape that I'm in, the extra pain and stuff, the general degeneration of having the CRPS and it getting worse. This dog literally started barking as soon as maybe I have one of them voices that only dogs can hear. No, no. I think those are really high pitched voices. I don't think I qualify. But yeah, I'm trying not to let him distract me. But anyways, so yeah, I'm more nervous now and more anxious now because I'm more vulnerable physically. I used to be like not vulnerable physically, but my anxiety was all up here. It's like I get nervous over stupid shit. And it was all up here. Once I overcame what's all up here, I had like a golden age period there. And then, like, I went through this physical decline since I've been living in this shithole of a city. And this is like getting heckled at a comedy club, except for I can't heckle a dog back. Yeah. Um, yeah. Anyways, I've gone through this physical decline. I really don't like dogs. I know people love dogs and they love their dogs and stuff like that, but this is the reason I don't like dogs is they make so much goddamn noise and the little piles of shit that people don't pick up to. But mainly it's the noise. It's like I don't like noise. I like quiet. Um, but anyway, since I've been living here and then my, you know, physical integrity has slipped off the map into those old fashioned maps where it says here there be monsters. You bet your ass there be monsters where I'm living right now. I'm living in Lovecraft country for real. And yeah, so uh, okay, stomach. I don't know if you heard that, but that was a long one. My stomach's saying like, yeah, we got to eat. I'm like, yeah, okay, you got to feel better in general, but yeah, this is since I've been living here, I've been more nervous because Uh, well, you know my life since I've been living here. It's been absurd. I mean, it's actually I had that one guy tell me that it's like funny in a sick way, and I'm like, yeah, I can see that. He's like, it's like, what horrible thing is going to happen to you next? It's like, what? It's kind of like why like tune in because like you got doctors getting murdered, you have rapist doctors. He was fascinated by the fact that the doctor that I had that was had 13 children. He had 13 children, and he was like going around fucking other dudes' wives until he fucked the wrong dude's wife, and then you know they had that murder suicide thing. He was fascinated by that, and like I was like, you can look it up if you want to. I wasn't speaking to him specifically, but I was like the guy's name, and I spelled the guy's name out, and he actually did the research. And he was like, he's like, wow, you know, he was like fascinated by that. That was a guy named Jamie that I had major beef with later on down the road. He's I guess you're always an alcoholic, but he was I'll call him an ex-alcoholic because they use benzodiazepine sometimes to take people off. You know, they trade one devil for another devil. So they use benzodiazepines, usually clonazepam, to help people get off of alcohol to deal with the effects of it. But really, alcohol and benzodiazepines are so similar. You're really trading like a very similar devil for a very similar devil. So, you know, I think he was taking 2 milligrams of Xanax a day. Anyways, I talked about him before. Um, I did make a video like over the weekend, but I was just too lazy to put it up. And it did have some amusing stuff at the end, but it wasn't. You didn't miss nothing. Uh, you know, I don't think so. And not my opinion anyway. And you know how much I love myself. So if I do anything good, you know, I want to put it on the refrigerator with a meg in it. So, you know how your mom like celebrate. I had one of them moms that like celebrated anything that I did to make up for my dad. You know, being what he was. She was like, "Oh, that's great. This is great. That's awesome. This is awesome." You know, so yeah, like I was a terrible artist, but she would like put my stuff up on the refrigerator with a magnet because my mom was a very loving person. It was probably the only thing that kept me from being a monster. Uh, was my mom was yeah, that's why I don't diss religion or religious people because my mom was a religious person, and you know she was hyper religious, and but she was very kind and very loving, and uh, was trying to balance out my dad's like cruelty, indifference, abuse, whatever you want to call whatever he was, because he's pretty indescribable. I've tried to describe him many times. He's very difficult, unique character. Uh, I suppose that's one of the reasons why, like, I give him a pass on a lot of things. Is because, God damn it, if you're going to be evil, be interesting evil. Don't be plain old boring evil. You know what I mean? Like, just be just be fascinating. Like, it was always fascinating to me. Like, you know, he thought of himself as stupid because he didn't finish school. I didn't finish school. I never thought of myself as stupid. But, you know, he read voraciously to the point where I had to like pay a tax. Like I said, I'd go to the library and I'd get 5 books for me and 5 books for him, and he'd read all 10 of them. But I was like, please don't read the books that I want to read. These are books that I'm just like throwing your way because he wouldn't go to the library and get his own library card and pick out his own library books. He would just read whatever I would bring home. So you know, maybe I should have brought him home books like a Buddhist literature or a chicken soup for the soul or, you know, how to be a kinder, gentler person. I don't think he would have read those. Like, trick him into reading self improvement books, you know. I was like, how not to beat your kids in 5 easy steps. Because he used to do, you know, just evil shit like, uh, You know, he wasn't as bad as some other people that I know his father, believe me. But he used to do this shit where he'd whip you with a belt occasionally, but he'd take off his belt and he'd loop it and like push it together and snap it like a Nazi prison guard, like smacking his whip against his leg, whatever them riding crop things are. But like, you know, this might be in your future. I can remember him doing that and enjoying that, that cracking noise that the belt made and the response of his children. So we're not talking about the best guy in the world, but like I said, if you're gonna be evil, be interesting about it at least. So I would have to like get him books and like, feed him some books to keep him from reading the books that I would want to read. But a lot of times I'd be hot to read a book and he'd grab that book and I'd be like, damn it. But he was a pretty fast reader too. And he was also interesting in that he loved his kids but treated them like garbage. That was also interesting. He never told me he loved me. I told him that I loved him once and gave him a hug, and he looked at me like he wanted to vomit and just said, "I know you do." He didn't say, "I love you" back. He was just like he was incapable of saying the words. He just like said, "I know you do." And I felt like I think I was 22 or something like that. I was living on my own. I had been living on my own for a few years, and it's just me and him there. And I just like told him I loved him and gave him a hug just to do something different. Because no hugs, no affection, very little encouragement. I can't really, off the top of my head, remember him like saying you did a good job or that was cool or that was smart or anything like that. That was the one. My mom would overcompensate, but she liked everything I did, even if I myself knew it was garbage. So it was kind of like, you know, damning praise. It was kind of like faint praise or whatever they call it. It's like, I'm not buying that. You like that one picture I drew of the turkey with my hand. That didn't look like a turkey at all. That looked like a hand to me. I don't know what the hell those grade school teachers were thinking. So, yeah, so he wasn't nurturing. And my brother has a different perception of him, which is interesting. Which, in his mind, he worked us, my dad worked us like dogs. And I'm like, I don't really remember things that way. And I think it's because I liked physical labor. And so it wasn't that big a deal to me. I liked doing physical stuff. I liked swinging pickaxes, shovels, saws. I liked work. So I was an active type dude. I like doing stuff like that, which is ironic now because my brother does that shit all the time, but he didn't like being made to do it as a kid. So he thought we were worked like dogs. So I never thought of it that way. I thought, well, those are just chores. Isn't that like how all kids have chores that they have to do? They have to do this or they have to do that. You have to cut the grass. You have to help do this. You have to help shovel gravel. You have to help pave the driveway. You have to shovel gravel into the driveway. You have to do, you have to work a wheelbarrow and a shovel and a rake. You had to rake leaves. It's just like, to me it was like normal, but I didn't know what normal was. Anyways, but I like that kind of stuff anyway. I would love to do that kind of stuff right now. As a matter of fact, I was thinking, who's gonna shovel the snow this winter? Because it's like usually it was me. Even when I couldn't walk, I would hold on to the railing on the ramp and shovel the ramp with like one hand shoveling, and clear a path out to the garbage cans for the dude in the wheelchair. But I think he just goes out on the porch and throws them on top of the cans, or I think that the garbage cans are situated so that maybe he can reach over. I don't know. I haven't, I don't sit out there, so because like this morning, now the dog has fallen silent. Stampy was very, very loud this morning, even though I thought she was dead a couple of mornings ago. That's what was part of that video was like, this dog is yowling like constantly at 6 in the morning. It was like yowling constantly, and I had heard her stomping around up there like 5 o'clock in the morning. Then I heard nothing, and I heard this forlorn dog yowling. I'm like, nobody's yelling at this dog. Nobody's telling this dog to be quiet. It's just yowling. Did she leave the house and go somewhere at 6 o'clock in the morning? And it's yowling because it's alone, or is this woman dead? And then I heard somebody knocking on the door and saying, please answer the door. And I'm like, I'm listening to this, and I'm like, am I going to be hearing like ambulance pulling up outside pretty soon, or what? But I guess she's okay. At least stamping wise, she's okay. Um, I suppose it doesn't look like Nurse Elizabeth is going to get back to me anytime soon. So um, I turned both my phones on. I checked all my messages on my phone, which I've been lazy about doing, and got both ringers on both phones. So obviously, did not get much done. Didn't even shave. Uh, it's been a rough couple of days, and I don't know what the future holds. But whatever they want to do to me, if I get an orthopedic surgeon to look at me, he'll be like, "What would you rather do? Would you rather have surgery or would you rather have physical therapy?" And I'll say, "Yes, please." That's a common joke nowadays, but to the point of wearisome. But whatever they want to do, I'm on board for, because this ain't livable. This ain't doable. I can't do shit. I mean, they could make it worse, but I got to roll those dice. It could make it worse. I could end up, uh, if they want to do knee replacement surgery, I'll even have to roll with that. I mean, what the fuck ever. The problem is, like CRPS, whatever recovery I'm going to have, CRPS is going to make it 10 times more difficult. And, I got a lot of things to deal with that I generally don't like to talk about, besides um, just the pain and the various symptoms of them not knowing what the hell is going on. It's a whole big thing. It's not an easy life. Um, but as far as like opting out of it, I've been thinking about that a lot. But I was like, you know, I made a couple of promises to myself, and one of them was that I didn't want to die in this thing. But I was like, I don't really care if I die here or where I die. That's kind of a stupid thing. I kind of like the idea of the landlord finding my rotting corpse in this bed in this room. I kind of would enjoy that idea. Uh, but the other promise that I made to myself was like, I want to see if anything can be done about my knee before I give up. You know, it's logical and sensible for me to give up that knee, but I have been labeled a quitter. Early in my life, I was the guy that was losing at checkers and would throw the board up in the air. Like, I don't want to play anymore, which is interesting because I've had CRPS for over 30 years and haven't quit. And now it wasn't that bad, relatively speaking, until it's reached these intolerable levels the last, you know, 10 years or so. So it was like, I just kind of got used to it. Okay, I got weird feet. I can't stand on my toes. I walk weird. The pain's not that bad though. And I do have to, I've always done that where I've wrapped something around my middle part, you know, to wear a shirt. That's always been there ever since I was. I thought this one guy thought I was a fag or something like that. Sorry to use that coarse terminology, but that's what he said. Uh, but he asked me. No, he didn't say that because he was afraid of me. That's all out of my head. I shouldn't pin that on him. Anyways, I'll use the proper terminology. He thought I was a homosexual because I was wearing a belly shirt, basically because I didn't feel like wrapping up my stomach that one day, and I just wore my shirt like a cutoff shirt. Guys back then did not wear cutoff shirts, so he's like, "Why do you always like wear your shirt rolled up?" And I started to explain it to him, and he was like, "Okay, okay." And like, I really didn't want to know. He really didn't want to know, but it disturbed him, you know. But yeah, he was afraid of me, so I actually threatened to punch him in the head, scared the living shit out of him over that weed incident. So He was afraid of me, so he was just too curious not to ask. But when I went into an explanation, he was like, I don't need to hear anything else, making me nervous. I don't like the look in your eye. You're making me nervous. But yeah, that was the guy that I was like, you say one more goddamn word, I'm gonna come over there. I'm gonna punch you right in your fucking head. Then when he was complaining about a joint that I sold him, that I didn't want to sell him in the first place, and everybody there, that we were all smoking dope, got real quiet. And because they all knew, they all heard the tone in my voice, and they all knew that, oh shit, man, we're gonna have to pull these two apart. It's gonna be a whole thing. And we were having such a good time. What a buzzkill, damn. But anyways, um, yeah, I just want to see how this goes as far as this referral. I'm thinking about like just telling them I want to reschedule that um, physical that's coming up on the 20th, which would be next Tuesday, and just tell them I can't make it because that's the same day as my aid worker, and it is the same day as my aid worker. And yeah, I didn't think that out when I made the, I was making some bullshit. I don't think I even need to make up any bullshit, but I'll make up some bullshit about putting it off, and then talk to other, my other resources and try to get a different doctor. But I need that referral, which is the whole point of this, and why I'm sitting here is I need that referral. I need something done about my knee because life is not livable in my current state. I wake up in the morning and it's like, God. I woke up feeling especially bad this morning because I wanted to watch the Browns game, which they won, which was pretty awesome. But I have to watch the games after they're over because I got NFL Game Pass. You can't watch them live. So I didn't start watching the game until like 7:30, which meant that I didn't go to bed until like 12, and I woke up at 6 or something like that. But I was real sleepy, while I was watching the game, but I managed to stay awake because it's a football game. So, um, yeah, I woke up feeling dreadful, and I was like, well, I told myself the one thing I was going to make sure I did today was research the orthopedics mystery, and that's what I'm doing now. So, good on me. As far as what else I can get done today, I don't know. I have to watch the games to see what cards to put up. I was a little disappointed. Well, I got screwed over because um, the original, the guy's card that I sold, his team was supposed to play at 1 o'clock. I set it to go up, the auction to go off at 12:45, so that people are sitting around waiting and all excited to watch their team play. And this quarterback's name's Josh Allen, plays for Buffalo Bills, and see how Josh does this week. And that works out pretty well. The problem is because of COVID, the Titans had to reschedule their game with the Steelers, and they ended up not playing until Tuesday. So my bid hung at $105 for like 5 days. So I'm expecting it to shoot up anywhere around 150. It never did. It just hung at $105. At least the dude paid me right away. So that was a little disappointing. That was just like luck of the draw. That COVID bit me in the butt on that one. But I haven't. I have to watch the game to see if I'm, what cards I want to sell, and I don't really feel like selling cards. So I want to make sure that I'm, you know, not just thinking and dunking, making little tiny uh, bits of yardage. I want to make the big gains. I want to score $100 a pop. I want to make it worth my while if I'm going to bother with it, which is something I have to do today. Is I sold 3 items, so I don't even know if the other 2 people paid yet or not. But the guy with the $105 bid, he paid. I put the $105 in the bank, and yeah, I talked to him and asked him what his favorite team was. I might just throw in this fancy card that I got because I just want to get out of it. I was trying to sell this other card for like $10. Nobody bid on it. I might just throw it in there. He actually mentioned it in an oblique way. He's like, "I was sorry, I missed out on your other auctions." because he's a Packers fan, and he's like, I'll just throw it in there. I don't care. I just want to get out of it. I got it's yeah. I'll still end up making money, and the Browns did good yesterday. They're 4-1. That bodes well for me getting rid of my thousands. Now these I paid like, I don't know, like at least 2K, somewhere between 2K and 3K for Baker Mayfield cards, because the quarterback's always the boss. He's always going to command the most money. And unfortunately, Baker Mayfield was horrible last year. He's not that great this year, but they kept training wheels on that bicycle, but they took the training wheels off yesterday and said, keep the shiny side up, son. And they let him throw because they weren't going to be able to run against the Colts. And he did pretty well for most of the game. He should have thrown 3 interceptions. He only threw 2. He had a fumble that bounced right back into his hands, so that was lucky. But to the national perception, the people that are not local and the non-hardcore people, it's like, hey, this is Baker Mayfield kid, maybe all right after all. His team's 4-1, so I might try to sell some of his shit, or just one. I'll just throw something out there like a test venture, one of those graded cards, and see how it does. And uh, it depends, depends what I feel like doing. Um, so yeah, yesterday also made the Chubb guy look good because they couldn't run the ball for shit. Everybody's like, Kareem Hunt's just as good as Chubb, and I'm like, no. So I got that massive pile of Chubb cards, all kind of different specialty cards and stuff, autograph rookies, all that crap. So in a way, that could actually be helpful to me. That he's injured, so people can, you don't miss your water until the well run dry. So people are going to realize, like, hey, this guy, they can't seem to run the ball too good without this guy. So this guy must be pretty damn good, because he's just one of them quiet, unassuming dudes that destroys you quietly and doesn't like stand over you and say nana nana poo poo, I just beat your ass. He just goes about his business. He don't say shit, and he just destroys you quietly. So, uh, anyways, I don't know. You know, that's like my main thing, is to try to get out from underneath the cards. That's my main thing after, you know, just dealing with my knee. I got to see an orthopedic surgeon, and if Omni don't want to deal with me, and it's not encouraging that she's not calling me back, it's like, then I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know, I I don't know. I'm just not inclined to go back. I just, I know you need a general practitioner. I can talk to the person that nags me to get a general practitioner. Um, my case source manager lady named Kim, and say like, look, man, they screwed up my leg. I'm not going back to those people. Can you have a list of people that I can call, where maybe I can get an appointment that will take this insurance that you work for, and just hope for the best in the meantime. As far as like not getting any weird ailment that needs a doctor, there's always the emergency room, you know. Um, like, use the emergency room for a doctor, um, if it comes down to it. But I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back to that office. It's like, I don't want to see that guy, because I feel like I'm going to be compelled. I'm going to feel compelled, like, as like integrity, manhood type of thing, like to confront the dude. Like, look, man, I'm not saying you did it. I'm not saying, don't worry about any lawsuits, malfeasance, or anything coming your way. But I'm saying, next time somebody comes up in there with a funky disease and a swollen knee, you probably ought not to be manipulating that knee and pressing on it. Because after you did what you did, I had extreme pain. I mean, I can't see, I will feel like small if I don't. if I see that dude and I don't confront it. Now, you could be saying, why wouldn't you feel small by not facing up to it and going back in there? But I just don't. I'm on edge. I have a temper. I don't want things to go south and get ugly. I would rather just sever the relationship from a distance than to sever. I would get no satisfaction. Losing my temper is not good for me. It makes me sick. It's not good for anybody concerned. And, it's like, why put myself through that? So I'm going to work on getting this sorted out as far as a referral thing. And I think I'm leaning toward like just seeing another doctor, just starting fresh, you know. And, but in the meantime, I'm going to string them along and try to get that referral to that, uh, my last orthopedist on the insurance. If that don't work, I'll talk to my care source manager about approaching it from a CRPS angle because she's actually pretty good. She's annoying and speaks in a very strange way, like, Steve, hello, it's so and so. I'm just wanting to know, It's like, but she actually seems to be on top of her job most of the time and interested in my case and whatnot. So, um, like, I could approach it from another angle. In the meantime, there's going to be a lot of pain and torture, extra pain and torture now since the 22nd in my life. It's just like, what else is new? Uh, but yeah, that's the State of the Union address, the State of the Steve address. I I did watch the interview. Speaking of State of the Union and presidential type stuff, I did watch the interview of Trump after his first interview, which he did with Fox News, of course, uh, after his COVID recovery, and it was kind of interesting because like he don't ever want to appear to be weak, so he's like, I just felt some weakness and tiredness that I haven't felt before, and then they kept asking questions, and he was saying, well, the doctor said there was some congestion they were concerned about, and then he was like, they gave him Regeneron, whatever that is, which is intravenous medication, and then he like said something about that one drug that's controversial that people think should be more widely used against COVID. I don't remember the name of the drug. I remember the lady that was the main outspoken proponent of it was like she was in the like she was talking about demons and stuff too, which really didn't help her credibility. I'll have to maybe look that up. I posted a link for that like a couple of months ago because I thought it was sort of interesting. Um, you don't really want your doctor talking about demons making people sick, but she was like, every person that I've treated with this medication who had COVID symptoms, they have had improved. If they weren't healed completely, they at least improved. This is way back when, uh, in the midst of it, where people still didn't know that much about it. And yeah, so that was sort of interesting that he was like, the longer he talked, they didn't press him at all. They just gave him a forum to talk. The longer he talked, it was like, yeah, you were sicker than you're letting on. And he did acknowledge the fact that, being president has its perks. So he's got the best of the best working on him. And he was in the hospital for 3.5 days, and they wanted to keep him longer. He said he felt better after one day and wanted to leave, but he stayed for 3.5 days. They asked him specifically how long they wanted to keep him, but he didn't give a definitive answer. And he left after 3.5 days. And so yeah, that was sort of interesting. Uh, I'm not really interested in the. I figure that Trump will be in president for another 4 years. I don't. know like how. See, I wanted them to get something done as far as the stimulus bill before the elections. So I don't see how they're going to be motivated after the elections to give a fuck about us. So I wanted them to get something done before the elections, but Trump suspended everything until after the elections, even before he caught COVID. So yeah, he just like I said, and I might have said it in the video I didn't post, but they were coming like together. Like I think I likened it to two people negotiating over the sale of a car. Well, I want $1,000. Well, I only got like about 450 to spend. He's like, well, how about 950? He's like, well, I can go up to maybe 550. They were, reaching that point where the House wanted this, Senate wanted this, but they were getting closer and closer. And I think they were right around 1.6 trillion when Trump pulled the plugs and was like, nah, we're done with this nonsense until after the election. So I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know if it's even going to be even happen because I don't see any reason for the lawmakers to be motivated if they're already elected. They're already elected. I mean, it seems like something you would want to do to kiss the voters' ass before you got elected. But anyways, I talked to my, uh, I hadn't talked to him for a long time because of my situation being bleak. I talked to my cousin in Florida yesterday, and I asked him about it because there was a big controversy about there's going to be like 65,000 fans or something at the Dolphins game, which I haven't watched the Dolphins game yet. Um, but you can't socially distance with 65,000 people, and he was like, "Well, I haven't heard anything about that." And I was like, "Well, what's things like down there in Florida?" And he said, "Well, we're supposed to be one of the hot spots, but." Uh, he's like everything seems to be open, the bars, the restaurants. He's like, everything seems to be opened up. They got the 6 foot distance rule. He said he was going in to buy a cigarette somewhere, and it said no mask, no entry, but he walked in there anyway, and they didn't say nothing to him. He wasn't wearing a mask. So, it's one of them deals where they have laws that are not necessarily enforced. It's, you got some guy working some 2 o'clock shift in the morning, and he's like, whatever. Um, So it could be like here. Like I don't see too many people walking around with masks, just walking down the street. What little I see of people, I don't. I don't see masks. So that's on my street anyway. Um, Out in the wide world, I see some masks. Some, I see a mix. So, I think if it's a law or a rule, it's not. It's one of them ones that they're not too keen on enforcing, like jaywalking. Uh, it's not like a priority. So, uh, yeah, that's my observations on that. It's like I was curious because Florida was like one of these states. Like there was New York, there was Florida, and there was California, where there are heavy concentrations of people, and there, it's like major cases. And he's like, yeah, it seems like the state's pretty well open. And then I heard about that football game, and I looked at the Browns game, of course, and there was 12,000 people in the stands, and there was none at the Ravens game in the stands, and they socially distance, but they don't socially distance for obvious reasons. Families or groups that appear together. There'd be like 5, 6 people in a group, and then 5, 6 people in a group over here somewhere. 5, 6 people over here. You know the deal. And well, that sort of makes sense. But anyways, I feel like a kid waiting for a girl to call him back because I need that date. He's waiting for that phone to ring like they used to sing songs about back in the days when the phones had the rotary dials on them. Uh, yeah, I want to get this situated. I want to hear from Omni. get an appointment set up, and you know, it's not really even hope. I'm not even hopeful that they, because I've been through it before. I've been to other orthopedists, and they, I've had tubes stuck in my knee before. And it doesn't mean they can't help me, or other people can't help me, or it doesn't look. I don't. The thing about doctors is like they don't like other doctors failing, and then they're going to be the guy to fix you. Yeah, they're like, well, this guy, we already had people in our field trying to help him, and things didn't work out. It doesn't bode well for what we can do for him. So that's not good. That's negative thinking, perhaps, but that's not good. But yeah, I gotta try to get something done if I'm going to continue to keep surviving and keep living. Because waking up in the morning is not fun. Knowing what's facing me during the day, and laying here, not fun. Walking on it, not fun. Not a whole lot is fun. So, like anything they want to do to it, I'll be like, go ahead, man. Whatever. Just, I won't be like that guy that had a baker's knee, and they replaced his whole knee with a plastic knee, and they had the brace on it, and he was all happy because he's like, oh, it's much better now. He's like, the pain was unbearable before. I was like, well, what kind of pain are you in now? And he goes, not too much at all, really. It won't be like that because, like I said, I got a pain generating disease. So I'm just looking, I'm looking out to climb out of the quicksand and get in some good sticky mud. I'm looking to get out of the La Brea tar pits and into the quicksand, and then take my chances in the quicksand. Captain Metaphor strikes again. So uh, I'm just trying to, deal with the impossible situation. Um, yeah, it's just, you know, logically, I should opt out on this mess, but I'm gonna hang around and see what's what. And I don't know. I think my family would be fine without me. I'm just doing it because, I mean, death to me, like explained in another video, is like death, man. It's a win-win. If you believe in heaven, I'm a good dude. I'll be in heaven. If you don't believe in heaven and you believe in oblivion, I won't be in pain anymore. And we can put a period to this mess. It's like this is done now. It was like, yeah, Steve was a good dude, but he's kind of was a failed experiment, you know. So I'm cool with that. And it's like death don't hold no terrors for me. At the same time, I'm not really emotionally invested in life. I don't see where I could be some kind of great contributor to mankind or anything like that. You know, I used to have like dreams and fantasies of that because I was bright. That I was like, well, you know what, I can write stuff that could change the world. Those young people ideas. And then I began to understand people believe what they want to, regardless of anything that you tell them that might be logical or factual. So yeah, you know, those young ideals are cute and all, but that's not the way people really work. So, it's like I'm not hanging around for the benefit of mankind and the greater good, or I'm not hanging around because, you know, I imagine there'd be some emotional devastation in my family, but though they got, I'm kind of like out of the family already, anyways. I mean, I'm probably closest with my brother, and I haven't seen him in 5 months. I just talk to people on the phone. Nobody comes here to see me. So, I get over it. Uh, Maybe it'll bond them together closer. I don't know. It's like so it is like in a sense, it's a social responsibility thing. I seem to be biting my own lip, like right here. That's why I was making those faces. It's kind of like a social responsibility thing. Like you want to hang in there because you don't want to make other people suffer. But if they were really kind people, they would be like, "Good for you, dude. You made the right choice." That's how I am with my older brother when he committed suicide. Because his brothers, having brothers is cool. I like having brothers. It's too bad my older brother and me got estranged. I used to enjoy him a lot. He was a fun guy. He just had that alcohol thing, and I enjoy my younger brother, even though he drives me mad. And then I would have had another brother. So brothers can be fun and cool. So, but I don't begrudge him killing himself when he was 17 because he made the right choice. It's like you made the right choice. Like, but then I was a young kid and I wasn't like all emotionally attached to him, and I didn't go through all these things that people go through. Like, what could I have done to save him, or how I could have treated him better. The emotional tortures that people put themselves through in suicide situations where they know somebody that commits suicide, and a lot of it's just pointless self-flagellation, like torturing yourself for no reason. It's like, yeah, that was somebody that was probably troubled, or in the case of my older brother, was definitely troubled and was just really making a logical decision and saving himself a lot of grief. And yeah, he. So I don't begrudge him his decision, but it would have been cool to have another brother because I do enjoy. I didn't enjoy my older brother, and I do enjoy my younger brother, the one with the filthy sense of humor, because dude's entertaining. I might offer him melatonin again just for the hell of it, because he's got to come in here and pick up his money. I might actually like just throw it in a bag of groceries and smuggle it, and he'll be like, "What's this? Oh, this is that melatonin shit." And then one night he'll be like, "I can't sleep." Like, "Oh man, oh man." Well, then I'll try it, because produced naturally by your body anyway. I did not have to take any last night. Believe me, I was very sleepy. And yeah, I think I might do that because I had lost. I was like, why don't I have more melatonin than this? I should have like a shitload of it. But it came like in a Ziploc bag. They finally put it in a bottle, like in a regular bottle, like this. This is, but they were putting it in like those blister packs, and this was like in a Ziploc baggie. And I had put it in with some sports cards, and I had lost this baggie. And then I forgot that it was in a baggie, so I was like looking for it, but I was looking at the top of this baggie, not understanding that, oh, it's in a baggie. And so I have some extras I could throw in there because he's got the PTSD, and he's got severe sleep disturbance. And I offered it to him, and he said yes, and then he changed his mind and said no, just because it came from a doctor. He's like, because he hates doctors and does not trust them or prescription medications at all, even if it was a prescription for baby aspirin. I don't think he would take it for a headache. He just, you know, you're not talking about complete rationality there. I think I might just smuggle it in with all the food that I can't eat or don't want. And like, here's a bag of food, and there'll be like pills in the bottom of it in this little baggie. I'll be like, oh, yeah, yeah, that must have got mixed up in there somehow. He might even yell at me for it. Like, what are you doing? Tempting me with this evil substance that my brain produces naturally anyway. And it's like, it's kind of like irritating talking to you when you're like clearly just dying for sleep, you know. Like I said, he makes me sound like an auctioneer when he talks. He's slow and drawn out. And then when he's sleepy, it's even worse. And then what's really bad is like when you know what he's going to say, and it's going to take a really long time for him to get there, and you try to cut him off. And like, I hate when people do that to me because they don't know what I'm going to say. But we talk all the time, so I know what he's going to talk about. And I just want to tell him, like, yeah, you told me that before. Like, we already talked about that. And you told me that before, you know. I just want to say that, but a lot of times you don't hear me when I say, yeah, I have to like, I'm always like, have to be borderline taking the risk of offending him and, you know, being rude because I have to say it like a couple of times. Yeah, you told me that before. Yeah, I remember you told me that. And I have to like say it like 2 or 3 times before it takes because he's so sleepy and, you know, sleep deprived. Uh, and then he'll be like, yeah, okay. And he hasn't really got offended. Sometimes he'll get offended and snappish and whatnot. We'll have our little silly hissy fits at each other, which I usually call him back and we get over it. It's got to be the peacemaker dude, of course. I'll call him back and be like, yeah, I didn't want to wait too long, man. It's like, I'll apologize for whatever it is, like a girlfriend. Like when you apologize to your girlfriend, like I was wrong. And it doesn't matter what it is, but you'll be like, yeah, I was wrong. It's like it could have been that you were being a bitch, is what you're saying to yourself, and being overly sensitive. But it doesn't matter because I was wrong because I know how you are, and I should have never even went there in the first place. So you skip all the stuff that's spinning through your head. You're just like, I was wrong. I think Chris Stapleton has a song that just says, I was wrong. And it's like, yeah, you just do that, get it over with. And like, I don't let stuff fester with him. Because I've told him before, it's like we just have to get over this because we need each other, and that's just the way it is. That's just the way things shook out, and you know, he don't do emotions very well. I don't. I do them passably well. I can, yeah. I don't do emotions like rage and anger very well, and you know, since I've learned how to hate and be resentful and stuff, I struggle with that. I'm new. I'm new though. I'm new. I'm new to the whole hatred thing, so I don't really know how to deal with it and how to. Like I said, my shrink guy told me that hatred is the desire for revenge. Anger is just like a response that you have, but when it deepens into hatred, you have a desire for revenge, and that desire, it like clings to you, and that's why hatred lingers and anger can dissipate more quickly. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I'll buy that for $1. And you know, it's like I don't know what to do about that. My cousin in Florida is very interested in the whole thing with my sister because when he has beefs with people, he just like lets it go. I was like, maybe I don't say it, but I'm like maybe the alcohol has something to do with that. I don't know, but he just lets stuff go. He's like, yeah, you know, you just gotta let stuff go. He talks stuff that makes sense, like you know, hate when you hate, you're just hurting yourself. So, you know, he doesn't tell me, like, you should let that go. But when I told him about seeing my sister for the first time in 3 years and how all I felt was hatred, you know, he just listens. And he don't, like, you know, criticize me or comment on what I should do or how I should act. You know, it's like very emotionally mature about stuff like that because it's like, how are you going to tell somebody else what they should do or how they should act when you're not them? You know, you're not in their shoes. So how do you know? Like, I try not to do that. I probably fail at times. I probably even fail when I make these videos and I'm way too soapboxy about how people should be or shouldn't be. But really, unless you're in somebody else's shoes, you can't really say like, "Oh, you got to get over that, man. You got to squash that." You know, he did say that you're only hurting yourself when you hate people. And he had a reconciliation with his father, and I wouldn't have been able to do that. So maybe he's a better man than I am. Who knows? Well, my mug still has a handle on it. I didn't have anything good to put in my coffee this morning except for 2% milk. So it was, I am drinking it strictly for medicinal purposes. As in, I need the caffeine to wake up to make them phone calls. Um, and now I'm just sitting here like a dick waiting and taking up your time while I'm doing it. But I can't remember what I was talking about in the other video. that I didn't post. I'm not sure why I didn't post it other than laziness. I think I didn't. Maybe I didn't post it because I thought it was boring or something. I don't know. But I'm not the arbiter of what is boring or what is interesting to you, and I don't go by views either. Because like if I was a stranger and I clicked on to some guy looking like me, shirtless, laying in the bed, talking, I'm probably not gonna hang in there for too long either. So I don't go by views. I don't, like, boy, that was a good video because all these people watched it. I don't care about any of that kind of stuff. Um, so I don't, like I said, I probably should just put up whatever. If I'm bothering to talk, I should probably just put up and put it up. If nobody watches it, nobody watches it. What difference? But yeah, I don't. I think I talked about something funny or interesting at the end of it, and I was like, well, that part was sort of entertaining. But this is more nuts and bolts stuff. This is more about like, what am I going to do with my future? How am I going to play this week? What am I going to do? I'll be talking to Tanya again and telling her like I need to reschedule because I need my aid worker that day or whatever. And I'll reschedule, and she'll be like, "How about this?" And if it's only for, if I don't know who I'm going to get the physical with, but like I said, you know my plan already. I'm not going to repeat it, like I usually do. Run things into the ground, and yeah, then we get off of here and get some food in my belly, and watch some football, do some research about. Yeah, I wish I would have held on to the Miles Garrett uh, rookie prisms that I have because they would go huge right now, but I didn't. I just sold them. I had 9 of them. See, it was all gravy to me because I had 9 of them and I paid $2 a piece for them. But now one of them would probably go for $20, and I sold one of them for $17. I sold these other couple for like $6, and then I sold like I think 6 of them for $44. It was all just profit, but I didn't maximize my profit. That's what I was saying about the Chubb card. It's like I could make money off of the Chubbs, but I wanted to maximize the money. And now he's hurt, so that could be a problem as far as maximizing profit. But it may work out in the end because the Browns are 4-1. They're winning without him. He comes back and say he goes back to being the same old destructive force that he was, and people will be like, "Wow, the Browns' running attack really improved." It could be that this guy is really, really good. Like 5.7 yards a carry doesn't scream really, really good, but he just hasn't like. I got the same card of Saquon Barkley, right? I sold that card for like $50. I was picking up the Chubb version of that card because he played for the Browns, I guess. For I can pick him up for anywhere from $10 to $20, and I'm like, sooner or later it's gonna hit the Barkley mark and be like a $50 card, and I'm gonna have like 30 of them, and that's a good thing. And I got a bunch of them in this box over there. I moved them. I was gonna point over there. I moved them and rearranged my room. So yeah, so I was kind of waiting. That's why that injury was such a blow. It's like, yeah, the Browns are winning games and they're going to be drawing attention, but this might actually work out better if he's not out for too long because you don't miss your water until the well runs dry, and people be like, look, the Browns only seem to be rushing for like 77 yards a game when they had this other guy. He was rushing for 100 plus by himself, and it could like cast a spotlight on him. Could work out for the best. I'm always trying to be optimistic, you know. Even if I'm talking about suicide and shit, I always try to be optimistic. Now I'm about done, and the dog that was heckling me has been replaced by the hammering of boards. So I think I will turn on my air conditioner on fan get some food and watch some football, and wait for phone calls that hopefully will come. And yeah, I don't know how. I got this thing about nagging people from my childhood, so I know the squeaky wheel gets greased and all that, but I don't know about like calling them back. Like, did the did Nurse Elizabeth put in the call, or whether I might wait till tomorrow if I don't hear anything today. Just wait to hear from them today. You know, call them tomorrow. Be tomorrow, like, yeah. And by the way, I have to reschedule my appointment coming up on the 20th because I'm gonna need help that day from my aid worker. And that's an aid worker day. You know, so I guess I'll play it that way. I wish there was other people to help me do these things and make these decisions for me, but there isn't. There's just me. It's just me gonna go out there and stumble out there to the refrigerator and grab something to eat, and then stumble back in here and watch football, and then be like, "Okay, leg, can you shut the fuck up for 5 minutes?" And then decide whether or not I'm going to tap into my possibly limited supply of gabapentin, or you know, find some way to deal with being in pain. Yeah. I never promised you a rose garden. That was an old song. Nobody ever promised me. Yeah. Or what's the Sheryl Crow thing? No one said life was going to be easy, but they never said it was going to be this hard either. Uh, yeah, it doesn't seem to be getting any easier. But anyways, I wish you all a good day and salute.